Hi there, welcome to Subpar Stitches. My name is Hillary and this is my Flosstube channel. It's been about 3 weeks since the last time I filmed because I did just get back from StitchCon weekend A, and last week would have been when I posted, but I was at StitchCon, so there was none of that. So today I have all my typical Flosstube stuff, plus a little bit of a recap at the end for just everything that went on at StitchCon. So if you're interested, I will have timestamps down below so that you guys can just skip to the parts you want to listen to. If you are like, I don't care about this part, you can skip it if you want. Up to you. My voice is still recovering from StitchCon, and I had a crazy past few weeks, so I had a couple different trips. I went to my sister's bachelorette party, and we did go to the beach, and I got a sunburn that got me sick, and I'm finally done peeling like a lizard, thank God. And then, like, a day after that was when I turned around and went to StitchCon. While I was at StitchCon, there was a fire in my apartment complex. Not my building, obviously, because, you can see it. But, the building was completely decimated. And then on the same day, our hot water heater blew, which, while I was at StitchCon, I had to, call the office and figure all that out. So, that was a mess. But, then I finally got back on Sunday, and I had taken Monday off so that I could just relax. And then I had to go to work Tuesday, Wednesday, and just recover from all that stuff because I had 1,000 emails in my inbox that I had to sort through. And then I had the past couple days off because of Juneteenth. My work gave us both Thursday and Friday off, so that's been, nice for recovery. So here I am, filming everything. So, before I forget, and before I get into everything, I did announce a giveaway in my last video, and that was for this Wizard Biscornu pattern from Tiny Modernist. I had finished this, and I was like, well, I guess I can give it away. So I did a random comment picker, and this is the comment that won. It is, can't even read my own handwriting. I think it's Wooly Kim. So if this was your comment, just send me an email to the email that I'm going to pop up on the screen right here with your address that you want me to send this to, and I will pop this in the mail for you. So I like to start with my FOs, which are finished objects, and I have a small stack here for you from the past 3 weeks. So let's hop right on in. The first one I have is Stitchy Bug, and this is by Amity from Boomerang Stitches. I stitched this in 2 to 3 days because I was like, I love bugs. I'm enamored by bugs. And I dyed this fabric. This is a 36 count fabric that I named it Goldenrod because why not? And I did a full sulky conversion. So it's mostly the same colors, but I didn't have a sulky to match this, so I just substituted in this deeper blue, and I think it looks pretty good. I don't know how I'm going to finish it yet. Probably just put it in the project roll for now until I figure that out. I also finished the Sweet Mixed Pickles set by Pickle Barrel Designs. These are stitched on 32 count Luna Moth Even Weave by Bestitch Me. I can't remember which one did I finish first. Oh, so I think I showed you this one last time. So this is Pickles Are Delicious. So I had finished that one before, and then this pattern came in a set of 3, so we have kind of a big dill, and it's just like a big old pickle. I like the gradient on the words here. And then the last one, this one took forever because it's just like a big solid block of green, but this one says Pickle Queen, and I ended up bringing the patterns to StitchCon. I wanted to finish it before StitchCon so I could give the patterns away, and I went up to Marjorie from Marjorie Made because everybody knows she's the true pickle queen. And I asked her if she wanted them, and she was like, duh. So I gave those to her. Oh, and that pattern is by Pickle Barrel Designs. I don't know if I said that. Very appropriate name. Then I decided to stitch a name tag for StitchCon that I didn't end up using because I was watching Frizzy Lizzy Stitches and she showed off her name tag. And so I downloaded her pattern, and then I made a couple minor changes to it. And then the colors I picked didn't really work out. So then I tried to fix it, and I only made it worse. So here's the name tag. And she had hearts in the corner. I changed them to little stars. And then the gray that I use with this purple, so there's gray, I don't know if you guys can even tell, gray on the inside of the letters, and then purple on the outside, or no, gray on the outside, purple on the inside, but the contrast wasn't good enough. So then I was like, what if I backstitch white throughout it? And then it looked even worse. And so here it sits on that same fabric as Stitchy Bug. I don't know what I'm going to do with it, but I hated it. And then at StitchCon, I had 3 small finishes. So the first one was one that we started all together last year. It was like my whole table started it, and then like some of our other friends who were scattered at other tables started it. We all grabbed Beach Rat by the Artsy Housewife, and we were like, let's finish this together at StitchCon next year. And I decided to stitch mine 1/1 on 32 count Darling David fabric by Those Missing Stitches. And so all I had was a little bit of the legs left, and here it is. Just for size reference, like this is my hand and this is the pattern. Like this is, it's so tiny. And I have a picture of all of ours together, so I'll pop it up, but you could see mine is just like this little baby amongst the rest of them. This was my first ever 1/1 stitching, and I learned a lot from it. Mostly that even weave is going to be a lot easier to do 1/1 stitching on, but I think for my first time, it turned out really well. And I was inspired to do this 1/1 by Karen from Stitching Past My Bedtime, because I met her last year and she stitches a ton. I don't know if that's like all she does, but like everything I've seen from her, she like stitches 1/1, and it's just so cute. So I couldn't help myself, and I'm so glad this is done. Now I just need to find a really cool frame for it. But I will tell you, if you do this pattern, the leaves stressed me out for some reason, and everybody in our group was just like, we're trapped in leaf hell right now. So it wasn't just me. And then I had Too Much of a Good Thing. This is a pattern that Amity from Boomerang Stitches found in this like old pattern book. It was all like diet themed patterns, but it had cottage cheese on it, and she knows I love me some cottage cheese. And so she ripped it out and gave it to me, and then I put it in a stitch fiddle and modified it. So here is the finish, and what I did was I left the cottage cheese, all the words are the same. This was like a diet soda, and I changed it to a Dr. Pepper, but obviously I couldn't fit Dr. Pepper, so I put Dr. Peppy. And then there was like a radish up here, and I changed it to a pretzel because I love pretzels. And then at the bottom there was like, I think it was celery stalks, and I just changed it to some pasta because we ain't doing all that. What am I going to do with this? I don't know. I just thought it was fun. I thought it was a fun thing to do. And then I still have, this is on 18 count Lagoon from Fiber on a Whim, and I don't love this fabric. Not like the fabric itself. I just don't, the light blue color, it just feels so generic, and I'm not obsessed. But I still got like one more square that I got to get through, and then I will have used up the fabric, because it's a good fabric. It's some of the softest Aida I've ever touched. It's just not my color. And that original pattern was from Sabra Publishing. I don't know too much about it. And then there is going to be some minor haul scattered throughout the beginning of this video, just because I've used some of it since then. But like majority of the haul will be in the haul section. So if you hate looking at haul, don't worry. Like there's not too much throughout the general video. But this is Vintage Crafts, and this pattern is by Stitch X Love, and it is a free pattern that I saw on their I found on their Instagram. I didn't find it. Amity suggested that she was going to do it, so a bunch of us at the table decided to stitch it together. And I had stopped at Craft Gallery on my drive down to StitchCon because I'd never been there, and they had my like fabric that I've been dying to try out. It's Grandpa's sleeve. So I had bought a fat quarter of this in 40 count, and I decided to stitch this pattern 1/1 on this 40 count. So it's still on here, so you could see, like, again, that's my hand, that's the pattern, and it says Vintage Crafts, not Vintage Values. And I used, I think, a couple Forbidden Fiber codes that I bought just at the annex there, which I realized later probably wasn't really necessary. I could have just used some DMC because you can't see the variegation at all on something this small. But I'm thinking about turning it into like a little keychain fob for my keys. So yeah, I gotta cut it out of this because I want to use this for tons of stuff. So those were all of my finishes. I've had quite a few starts as well. So the first start I had is Ope by Shitpost Sampler. And this is one that it was one of my weekly starts because I'm doing one start a week for the entirety of 2025. And then next year I'll probably finish a bunch of stuff. So this is what the pattern looks like. I actually ended up changing the colors because I thought that it looks too lemonade-like, and I just wanted to do something different. So here is where I've gotten to. I've gotten the first square. This will be the O, and I've just started inputting it. I started this at my sister's bachelorette party because, you know, like when we had downtime. I originally was going to bring 100 owls with me, but I was like, that's going to be a little bit difficult to stitch. And then looking at this now, I'm like, I need to remeasure this fabric because I don't know, like all three squares, I feel like my margins are going to be crazy. So I'm thinking now, what if I just stitched it and like did three separate pieces, and then I could make like three little pillows or put it in three separate frames and put them all on top of each other. I don't know. We'll see. But I really do like the color combination I picked out. It's just like a kind of aqua teal and then like a fun purple. So, and this was a free pattern. Shippo samplers, they have some for sale, but they have a ton of free stuff. And I link all the patterns down below, so if you're interested, go check them out because they have just a ton of like funny, kind of snarky patterns. And I'm just stitching that on like an 18 count white Aida. And then at StitchCon for my start of the week, like I said, I swapped Ope and 100 Owls around. So I did start 100 Owls, and I'm stitching this on a 32 count Platinum Lugana. It's probably, is it Zweigart? I don't know. I have to look because I didn't put all the information in here. And I'm stitching this with the Owl Forest threads, and I think these are the, I think they're the DMC ones. I can't remember. But I didn't get a very significant start on this because I just, as much as I like it, I wasn't feeling it with the amount of like chatting I was doing. It was just too hard to keep up with all the, because I was using a paper pattern. But like I said, I'm using the Owl Forest threads, and the variegation on this like gray one is like, it's straight up like gray, purple, and pink. So I feel like this is going to turn out pretty funky looking, but in a good way. Like, I'm not mad about it, but as I was stitching it, I was, and yeah, this owl has no head. Yeah, I need to put that in. Sorry, my guy. But I don't know. I picked a really plain fabric because I didn't want to get too crazy with it. And I'm glad I made that choice because Sarah from Sarah's, is it Sarah's Stitchery? Or Sarah, I always want to say Sarah's Stitchy Spot. I can't remember. But she is on her third restart of this because the first time, I think she was doing it 2/2, and she's like a one threaded stitcher. And then she didn't like the way that the floss she was using looked on her fabric. And so then she swapped it one more time to do just plain DMC on her like more fun modeled fabric. And so I could see why like these flosses would not be easy to work with on like a more modeled fabric. So I'm glad I went with like a plainer one. But I definitely did not get a lot into it. And then, this is some more haul, but I got this at the annex at StitchCon. They had a Hello Kitty bag, and I was like, how could I not? But in it, I put my new start, because on, like I said, I went to Craft Gallery, and I got this fabric, and I was like, I want to stitch something on this so bad. And this is a fat half of 32 count linen by Laura's Fabrics, and it's called Majesty. So there was like a trunk show there, and I just decided to throw that in. Price be damned. And I was like, I should stitch a long dog in white on this. And so like the start of this is not going to look very interesting at all. But here's what I have so far. It's reading more red on camera, but it is definitely a more like raspberry type tone. And it's going to be really fun with that white. But I'm doing Death by Cross Stitch. And for a name like Death by Cross Stitch, I definitely thought there was going to be more stitches to it, but it's only like 80,000 and something. So it's fine. It's going to be fine, you guys. But I did get the digital pattern this time because the first time I did a long dog, I did it on paper, and that is not the easiest to do. And I'm stitching it with this insane hank of color and cotton. It's some like mist dye that Erin got that she was like, here, use this. And I was like, okay. And we ended up cutting it at like in the late night stitching room, and it looked insane because there was just it's so big. There's so much. But once I'm done with this, I'm sure there'll be more than enough to do another one, so. But I'm excited to get to that top unicorn board, like corner, which is where I started, just because I want to stitch that unicorn. Or stitch around that unicorn, I guess. And then my last start, I put in, this is the bag that I got from Erin and Amity from my first year of StitchCon, and then somebody passed out these little keychain things, and this one says Sal, and this is where I keep all of our group Sals, so I figured it was perfect. And we are doing like a nature walk Sal, which Erin was already doing all the nature walks, so it was like kind of perfect. But I got this off of the freebie table as an 1/8 yard of Parliament 16 count Ada by Forbidden Fiber Co. And I was like, who's giving that away? And so I picked it up just because I thought it would be fun. And I ended up starting the, what is this one? Golden Hour Nature Walk. Erin, I think it was Erin said like it would be really perfect with these colors on this fabric. So you can see it's like modeled kind of like pink and yellow. So it's like the perfect kind of like beginnings of a sunset-y type thing. And there's a cicada here. I do have to do his back stitching. And shout out to Chandria from Chandria Carroll, who brought her full set and like let me use her DMC for this little guy, because I definitely wouldn't have been able to start it without it. And these are pretty small. Like I think this one, it's either like 16 or 1800 stitches. So they're going to stitch up quick. Hannah from the, I think it's M&M Stitcher. I think she already finished hers. So, and she started hers with us all together. So I'm excited. Everybody kind of, not everybody picked a different one, but a lot of us picked different ones. So I think that I'm probably going to end up doing all of them too. They're really, really pretty. And it's by Sprouting Lupine, by the way. I forgot to say that part. But I really like Sprouting Lupine's designs, so I was excited about that one. Okay, so that was all my new starts. You know, that's it. I'm surprised I didn't have more, to be honest. And so that brings me into whips. So I've made some pretty good progress on a couple of these, specifically Nostalgic Tarot, which is the first whip that I have to show you. It was my Whipco call. Like, I got double hit with that on my Whipco board. So my goal this month was to get 8,000 stitches into this. Here's where it was the last time you saw it. I've finally gotten into a groove of like how to stitch this, because I'm working on mostly the border right now, although I did kind of start a second card. But last night I was so excited. I got to the bottom and I was able to cut off all of the excess fabric. So I'm hoping that when I stitch on it again, that'll help. But like, this is all the excess that I cut off. Get out of here. And now it feels so much lighter. So there's like no way I'm going to get this whole thing in frame, but I started down one side and then I kind of came over here and I was like doing the card borders, which are a lot, so that I could finally get to the bottom. And then I gave myself a pretty significant margin because I don't know how I'm going to finish it yet. So, but it's still a lot of fabric, but it's definitely more manageable. So I've hit a little over 5,000 stitches, which means I've got less than 3,000 stitches left for the month. And that won't even finish up the border, but I'm going to keep pumping away at the border so that all I have left is cards, which is the fun part, because the border is so boring. That's why they call it the border. And this is a Witchy Stitcher pattern that you can get from her Patreon. Anything that is like past patterns, I think you can buy a lot of them now. And I keep it in this like fun Lisa Frank bag because, you know, it's very Lisa Frank inspired. But because I've been working so much on that, it's kind of cut into my Pokemon time as far as like my Pokemon pattern goes by Lord Libidin. So I'm doing Epic Generation 1, and here is where I was the last time. And I don't know if you're going to see a ton of significant progress from the last time, but I don't have too much more to fill in here before I can finally move the hoop. Still not at 50%, but I'm getting close. And because like I said, I'm planning on finishing this by the end of next year. And because I've gotten so much significant progress beyond what I had planned this year, even though I wasn't able to get any stitches in 1 week recently and then like 300 the next week, I'm still on track to finish by the end of next year. So putting in a lot of those extra stitches before has really helped with like these weeks where I just am not able to get to it. Then I finished Colors of Spring last month, and so I've moved on to working on Colors of Summer, and it's supposed to be my work project, but I just haven't been totally vibing with it right now. So here's where I currently am. I haven't added too much. Like I added 2 and a partial block. I think this one is a campfire. I don't remember what the blue is. And I just kind of was like, I don't feel like it right now. I don't know. I just don't feel like working on this one. So I'm gonna bring it to work, but then I'll bring like an alternate project just in case. But it's just not calling to me right now. I'm sick of stitching just block after block after block, which is weird because you'd think it would be the same as like stitching anything else, but it's not. And this is by Stitchrovia, and I got these from Magazine. You can get her on her Etsy too. And there are like the 4 seasons, and then there's like a Halloween one and a Christmas one. And I'm stitching that on, 40 count Avocado by Bestitch Me, and it's even weave. I love Bestitch Me fabric, but it's not the easiest work stitch for some reason because I don't have good lighting in the office, but somehow I decided it was my work stitch, so we'll see. I also worked on my Tamagotchi pattern that I drafted myself, which wasn't hard because it's Tamagotchi. But I finished the front, so all of the gray and black here is 1/1 stitching because I really wanted it to look like super pixelated. And then I started on, I'm gonna do like the back of it, and then I'll sew it together. And my plan is to make like a little keychain out of it. And then maybe eventually I'll just put this pattern up for free for people. I just wanted to make sure that everything kind of turned out okay before I like let anybody have something that I made. And I also got to figure out like how to turn it into, like the ideal looking PDF kind of thing. I'll ask Amity from Boomerang Stitches because her PDFs are fine. They have like all the information you could ever want on them. And then when Tara and I got to StitchCon, because I drove down and I picked her up from the airport, and then we shared a hotel room, and we went down just to the lobby to like stitch a little bit. And I picked up my I Will Walk Backwards, which I haven't worked on in quite some time. I got like a really, really sad start, and then I just never worked on it again. And I really want this one done. It's 2 colors. So here's where I'm at. Before I just had like some of these like lighter red leaves, and I just worked down a little bit. Only like a couple hundred stitches added, but I cannot remember for the life of me the fabric. So I will pop that on the screen for you, but I think it's like cream and sugar or something like that. And it is a linen, and it just says like, it's going to say I will face God and walk backwards into hell, which is based off of one of my favorite tweets by Drill, which was, I have the tag right here. It is a 32 count linen in cream and sugar by Fiber on a Whim. So I was right. I remembered something. This is one that it definitely needs more love because it's not even that, it's less than 10,000 stitches. So it shouldn't be that hard. It's just one of those where I have so many other projects that I just keep forgetting to work on this one. And that's why I brought it with me to StitchCon, because I thought I would get a lot more done on it. And the last whip I had was my Quacker Sampler, which again, it didn't get too much love. I think I worked on this on my last day at StitchCon, just on Sunday, as we were all chatting before we all had to leave. And I'm using the called for everything, called for fabric, called for threads. And here is where I'm at. All I added were these couple little pinwheel things right here to fill in. And I'm definitely over halfway done. There's no way I'm not. I can't remember, but it's very cute. I love it. A little rustic. And I'm excited for this one to be done. I hate this fabric. It's just not my favorite linen. Part of it is the color. Part of it is the weave is a little bit loosey-goosey, no pun intended. But I just am not its biggest fan. And if I were to go back in time and redo this, I would probably have picked a different fabric. But I like the way it looks. It's just not easy to stitch on. So that is all of the stitching, and I do want to share with you, some of my haul, and then I will talk about like just a quick StitchCon recap because I'm still so tired. Yeah, so let's first start with, I got just some of the stuff I actually purchased. With Craft Gallery, you already saw 2 of the fabrics I got, but then I also picked up a fat quarter of Murky from Picture This Plus in 40 count linen, because I just love this fabric. It's perfect for Halloween stitching. And so I grabbed that, and then I also got this. This was from Nashville, and it's like a frog purse from Primitive Hair, and they had one left, and I was like, okay, I want that. And then while I was at StitchCon, I did pick up this silk from Almond M&M's, and it is called Kalamata, like the olive, and I got enough of that to stitch the whole purse. So the purse, it comes with everything but the floss, so I was like, okay, I'll get the floss at StitchCon, and here we go. I thought this was so cute. I was so tempted by it when it first came out, and I was like, no, don't do it. And then I saw it in person, and I was like, okay, I'm doing it. And then at the Annex, I didn't end up going to Keepsakes this year just because it's crazy in there, and I didn't want to deal with that. So I ended up picking up from the Stitch Crypt, Cryptid Culture, and Chandria told me that you can buy like other patterns to go in here and like swap out the different cryptids, so I'm excited about that. I didn't buy too much from the Annex this year. I got Pigeon and Puddle from the Blue Flower, and I ended up ordering from Pirate and Robin. They have a full floss conversion, so I bought that for this, which is coming in the mail. And I also got Birdie Bowl from the Blue Flower, which is just so cute. The floss list is insane, but I mean, look at all those cute little birds. And then the exclusive pattern this year was from Heart and Hand, and it's called Kindred Friends, and I'm just going to take it out. You can see on there, like, I believe this is supposed to be, oh, there we go. That's supposed to be like Barbara from Keepsakes, and that is, we got like the little stitchy bus, and there's just like all kind of like little stitching motifs to represent StitchCon. We've got like the bell there that you ring whenever you get a finish, so I picked this up, and then they also had, it comes with this little cat bead. Oh, can you see that? Cat bead. And that's 310. That's their cat's name. And then they had a floss pack, and I picked that up as well. And I think it's all classic. Yeah, it's all classic colorwork. So I just figured I would get that because it was the StitchCon exclusive. Last year's exclusive was really big, and it wasn't really my style. And this isn't necessarily my style as much either, but it's small, and I thought it was like kind of just like a cute little commemorative memento. And the floss pack, I was surprised. It was only like $18.50 for all those color and cotton. So I was like, all right, good deal. I can do that. And so I've got it all stuck together in here. I think that was all the patterns I bought. But I did buy some other stuff. So I got a couple of Forbidden Fiber Co's here. So like this one is Garland. It's like a dark green. This one is Prophecy Girl. And these were the ones that I used on that Vintage Values piece. But I just thought they're good colors. And I like Forbidden Fiber Co. And then I found this fob that it's like a spider. So I had to have that because I love a bug. And then I got 2 needle minders. So I got this one from Stitchy Pros that it says Boo Ha, and it's a ghost. And then they had these wooden 310 needle minders. So I was like, I gotta have the cat, okay? But then, of course, there's all the other fun stuff. So, like, there was, like, a freebie table. So let me run you through some of the cool stuff I got from the freebie table. I got this Lindy Stitches Strutting Tom pattern. Big old turkey. There was a Mill Hill kit. It doesn't have the treasure in it, but I can replace that with, like, literally anything. And it did have, like, all the extra beads in there. Chubby Bee by Jeanette Douglas. Like, how cute. There was this Biscornu that, like, it's very, like, fancy and prim, but it has, like, the whole kit in there. So I was like, I need that. And then I got Oh Birdie from La Di Da, and Amity was like, oh, I have the NPIs for that. I'll split them with you. So got those in there. Lucy Beam, I Will Poke You, which that one's crazy because she's literally bleeding on the pillow. I thought that was funny. A Plum Street sampler called Eat Crow, but it's got a vulture on it. So I don't know. I just thought that was pretty cute. And then there was a Bendy Stitchy Biscornu that... Oh, I got two Bendy Stitchy patterns. So we got... This is Needle Heathen Biscornu. And then I have Autumn Colors, which I just really like the variegation on that. So I thought that would be fun. Somebody left a full-on chatelaine over there. So I was like, let me try that out. Check that out. This one is by Prairie Moon. It's called I Do Believe in Spooks. And it's got like an actual color photo on the front. And I was like, I'm going to try this, but I don't know how easy this is going to be because the pattern is on this brown cardstock. So, like, you could kind of see, like, that's going to be hard to read. I'm getting old, okay? And then there was this, like, wildlife sampler, which I got because I want to stitch that frog. And then this one's all bugs and butterflies, and I love bugs, so I love all these guys. This one's so random. It just says birds on it. So I thought that was funny. That's a heart and hand. Somebody put the 2022 Christmas ornaments from Just Cross Stitch, and I kind of collect these, so I like that. And then there were just some, like, random, like, fabrics up there. This is, like, a really cool, like, printed fabric that looks like marble. And, like, some even weave, just, like, some miscellaneous fabrics. So that was, like, most of my freebie table stuff. And then I did participate in the Smalls Exchange. And here is the bag I picked. I got to pick first from my group. And I was drawn towards this purple bag. And because there was a lot of patriotic at my exchange. And I'm just not into that. So, but you guys, the thing that I got, she made this pillow. It says Jennifer Harris handmade on the back. But, like, first of all, look at how she finished this. Like, it's like almost like, I don't know how you describe it, but like the way the lines go across is really cool. And everything in this bag is purple. It says housework, a waste of good stitching time. And my husband was like, hey, that's you. And I was like, hey, shut up. But it's like got a good weight to it. It's just like the cutest little pillow with like the chenille trim. She did a really good job. There was a purple Nerd hoop, which I love. This purple Forbidden Fiber Co. called Dutch Iris. There were 4 of these clips in there that are all purple, which could always use more clips. A pair of purple scissors with a little like sheath on them. And then, okay, my favorite, these are my favorite needles, are like, I buy the black pony needles. I've never tried these like colored pony needles, but in my favorite size too, 28. So that was perfect. And then there were a couple of these stickers in there that says, cleverly disguised as a responsible adult. So I thought that was really cool. I really enjoyed like everything that was in there. And the way she sewed this together was so cool. Oh, and then this is just a Bestitch Me Ada from Erin. She accidentally bought like way too many during a fight night. So, and I was like, oh, I want some of that. And so she let me buy this from her, but it's called Conversation Hearts. And it's just like a super rainbowy fabric. And then like as far as like table gifts and like just stuff that people were passing out, I have quite a bit to show you there. So somebody at my table, it was Tamara, who she got this like mat and she just told me I could have it. And I was like, cool, because I always wanted to try like a stitching mat. So I used that. StitchCon themselves, they gave us this bag. It's like a cooler bag and it's a backpack, but it also has like a shoulder strap. And then it also came with this like thread holder here. And let's see. Oh, this was just a gift from Tara, but these are stitch markers that are from Over the Garden Wall, which I thought were so cute. That's for like knitting and stuff. And then, let's see, this is my table gift from Erin and Amity. So it's this really interesting like triangle bag. And it's got like, let me see if I can wrangle them, a little bird charm. And then inside, it opens up and you've got like 3 separate pockets. And in one of the pockets is the most unhinged gift. So if you guys don't know how I met Erin and Amity, we were standing in line last year for StitchCon, and Erin offered me a piece of gum, and it was like weirdly soft. Like it was like gonna disintegrate in your mouth. And Amity goes, "This gum is awkwardly soft." And we all just started laughing and became friends forever. And so they included this luggage tag that says soft gums, solid friendships. And I laughed so hard. I was like so taken aback. And the StitchCon photographer caught me right when I made the dumbest face on the planet and posted it to the Instagram. So enjoy this horrible photo of me. I saw her later and I was like, "I have beef with you." And she was like, "That picture was cute." I was like, no, it was not. And I didn't even know they posted me to the Instagram until like the next day at the late night stitching. Somebody was like, "Hey, I saw you on the Instagram." And I was like, "What?" And we all pulled it up. And then Amity immediately like downloaded the high res and just like blew it up. And I was like, "Oh my God." Let's see what else. Oh, Amity got me this costume for my goose, my porch goose, which I'm dying to put on, but I had to show you guys first. It's Shrek for my goose. So I'm going to be putting that on after this video. Oh, this one was fun. This is from Stephanie from Cross Stitch the Globe. She put together this little like finishing bag for me of like thrifted stuff. So it has a couple pieces of fabric. She told me she made my bag like Halloween themed. So we've got like green and orange fabric to stitch on. And then this like kind of finishing fabric, which reminds me of a scarecrow, which is perfect. And then some like ribbon and like rickrack and stuff. I think this is such a cute little like a little gift bag idea. I really loved this. So I was very excited about it. And then I can't remember if this was from Chandria or from somebody else at my table, but these tacky bills, I don't know if it was Tamara or Chandria, because like a couple people gave a couple different things. But this is perfect for beading. And then this one I know was from Chandria. This is a Mill Hill kit, and it's like this cute little bird, and he has this weird little like tinsel that goes around him. So I'm excited to stitch that. Erin and Amity, for their gift for everybody in the room, they made these silk packs. Like one color represents each of them. They got them from Silks for You. So like the pink is Erin and then the teal is Amity. And that was just such a really fun, I can't believe they put these together. That must have taken forever. My table gift from Tara was she got these kits, these patterns that you can't, like this is the one that I got, but she cut the pattern out. So, you know, you can't see that. But they are these wooden, like they kind of look like stamps. And then she cut for everybody all the threads, and I'm sure it took forever because everybody's pattern had like a billion threads with them. So I'm excited though because I love a mushroom pattern and I love a little red poisonous moment. Oh, this is the one that was from Tamara. And so this is for railroading your stitches and stuff like that. And then there's also like a little scissor fob in the back there. Mine has a little strawberry on it. And then Tara and I went to grab dinner the first night we were there with Karen from Stitching Past My Bedtime. And she was so nice. She gave us these 2 fat quarters of 32 count linen from Bestitch Me. And she was like, you guys can either like each pick one or cut them in half. So we just cut them in half and split them. So this is glowworm and this one is lemon. And so these are going to be very fun. Like the glowworm is not doing it justice on camera. It's very, very fun in real life. And I just we were blown away. Like, that was way too kind. There's so many little, like, table gifts that I just, like, people were passing stuff out, but there was this cute little, like, acorn pin keep thing. Just to show a couple. Somebody was giving out, like, color and cotton mystery floss. This one was clever. So this is from the Absent-Minded Stitcher. They're little tongs so that you can eat snacks while you're stitching and not get your hands dirty. So I thought that was funny. And then I got this really cute scissor fob. The pig glows in the dark. I love these beads. They're so fun. And just lots of, like, stickers and fobs and all that kind of stuff. Like, we would be here all day if I showed you all that. But I appreciated everything. Somebody was giving out these, like, sticky frogs that, like, slingshot, and Tara and Aaron flung theirs up on the wall at one point and couldn't get it down. But yeah, just I'll just do a quick recap of StitchCon, and then I gotta go because I'm dying. So we decided to get in line at 7 a.m. so that we could get, like, the best table, and apparently people were getting in line since, like, 6. Doors don't open until 10, by the way, so we had to stand in line for, like, 3 hours. It was, so long. But we got a good table. Our main priority was being on the outside, because, like, being in the middle sucks, just because you're bumping up against everybody. I got to meet a lot of really cool people. The table diagonal from us had, Stephanie from Cross Stitch the Globe, and Allie Z from Allie Z's Crafty, and Andrew the Runner Stitcher. So I got to meet all of them, and I've officially sucked Stephanie into my friendship circle. She stressed me out, though, because, you guys, I've never seen anybody have fabric so loose in their hoop to stitch on, and I harassed her all weekend about it, because I was like, what is the point of the hoop? What are you doing? But I told her that she had to tell everybody that I was hilarious on her channel, which she did, so thank you, Stephanie. And Andrew the Runner Stitcher, he gave me something, too, that I wanted to show you guys. So Tara had gone over to their table at one point, and was like, she needed something from Stephanie, and it involved rolling a dice. And she goes, oh, well, Andrew just made me these dice, so I will roll these. And she rolled these cross-stitch dice, and Tara comes back to tell me about it. I was like, I want to see those. So I, like, went over and I was like, you got to show me these. That sounds so cool. And the next day, Andrew came over to me and Tara and was like, since you guys, like, liked them so much, I actually had a couple extra. And so he gave us, like, his table gift as well, which he cross-stitched these itty-bitty dice and, like, sewed them all together. Like, how precious is that? And for him to give us each one, we were, like, so excited about. And then, of course, he's got his card that you can turn into floss drops. And his card is really cool because it's, like, got that, like, metallic sheen at the bottom. And then it also had, like, oh my gosh, the generosity is insane. So this is a water lilies thread. That's silk, 12-ply silk. So I got, like, a cool green one. I think Tara's was blue. And then there was this honey, like, sucker in there as well, which I'm saving for when I need to relax my throat later. But yeah, so that was really sweet of him. And the brag table this year was insane. There was this person who they stitched this huge black on black piece, which I took a picture of immediately, and then went over to her table and I was like, you got to tell me everything about that because that is so cool. There were some really pretty fancy ladies. I know I have pictures of some stuff, so I will pop it up here. Oh, Karen from Stitching Past My Bedtime, she had a couple that she put up there that were just so itty-bitty. It was crazy because it's all 1/1. I had such a good time hanging out with my friends. Like, the only part where I was just like, oh, there was, like, a weird moment. Some lady came up, and I can't stop thinking about this, so I feel like I have to just say it on the internet too. But, like, some lady came up and, like, straight up accused me of, like, my ring being fake. And I was like, you can see it, can't you? Like, trying to kind of just be like, hey, you're being rude without blatantly saying that. It was really weird. I've had people imply it to me in the past, but nobody's ever outright been like, that's fake. And I was like, I don't even know you. Like, why are you doing this to me? And it's like, it's moissanite, which I've never lied about, but it was just really weird to do that to somebody you've never met. And then let me pop in a video of my table gift. Everything is so discordant right now. I'm so sorry. I just cannot think straight. But here's my table gift that I gave everybody. So this is the table gift that I made for everybody, and I made one for myself too. So everybody's looks the same on the outside, except they have this little like zipper pull that they can take off, and I stitched everyone's initial in a different thread, 1/1 on, I think it's like a 46 count. And then this opens up, and everybody gets 2 friendship bracelets. There's one with their name and then one that says, oh my gosh. So like everybody got one with their name, and I did different beads for everybody, and then everyone got one that says loudest table with a pastel rainbow. And then everybody got, this is a really weird, I'm gonna cut myself if I do this wrong. It's like a switchblade type seam ripper. So I got one of these for everybody. I put a skein of 310 in for everybody because I have way too much of it, and so that's just one way of getting rid of it. This is to put like little needles in, and they all came with little labels, so I stuck that in there as well if anybody wanted to use that. I also included my favorite needles, which are the Pony Black needles in a size 28. They're like a lot shorter, so it makes it easier to really just run your thread chicken like crazy. Everybody got a customized needle minder. So this one is the one I made for myself. It says Big Deborah on it. And they were just pins that I turned into needle minders. And then everybody got this mini pair of scissors, which I call like the poor man's kohanas. So it like unlatches like that, and then they're good for travel. And then the last thing everybody got is, this is a needle threader that is shaped like a hummingbird, and I just thought it was a cute little trinket. I don't know how much people will actually use them, but I think they're fun. And then I lined everybody's with a different fabric. I just like these goofy, spooky whales, so I put that in mine. And this piece is removable if they don't want it in there, but I just used it as a separator. So everybody got that. There's like a variety of colors of the scissors and of the seam rippers, but for the most part, it's pretty much the same. And then, like I said, I did participate in the smalls exchange, and actually Memphis Sarah E was the one who got my small. So when she got it, she was like, I cannot put this in my shop. And I was like, I did not expect you to. In fact, I did not expect a shop owner to get this. So I'm sorry, but here is what I gave away for the smalls exchange. So here is the bag that I put together for my smalls exchange. Just so there was like no confusion of what you were going to be getting. You know, I just covered it in Shrek stickers, and I got some paper to put in there. And I showed you guys this already on my last video, but here is the finished small. It's by Arcadia of Sorrows. It's called Swamp Slut. And then here is the back. I really, really like this frame. And then I have a few extra little goodies in there. So I have this hair clip of Shrek lying there seductively. I made this little needle minder out of a pin. It says, "Can't today, I'm swamped." I put some extra stickers in there. I thought this one was like insane. And then last but not least, I made some friendship bracelets as well. So like the top one says Shrek is love. Then it says Shrek is life. We've got Ogre It and All Star. And they're just like a variety of different green beads. So hopefully whoever receives this unhinged small enjoys it. But yeah, that is all the brain power I have left to give for the rest of this day. So hopefully I'll get this edited soon and uploaded. But until then, I hope you guys have fun stitching, and I hope you guys enjoy this video. And I will see you in the next one. Bye.